Hey, children of God, this is Kristi from seatedinhim.com, where we are seated in heavenly places with Jesus Christ. So tonight's message, I just got off work, so I'm going to be quick. But I really wanted to relay this story because it is a God story. And it's also something I want you to know. When God put yourself in a position where you can hear from God. Putting yourself in a position where you can hear from God means that you're praising, that you're worshiping, that you're praying, that you are reading the Bible. And so therefore you kind of more in touch, and being in touch gives you the ability to hear God's voice a lot clearer. So most of my stories originate in 2021 because I would like to say, even though I've been Christian all of my life, I would like to say that's my true Christ birthday for myself. I guess it's the birthday of my spiritual walk with Jesus Christ. I followed him in a religious way in the past, but that was the birthday of my spiritual journey with Jesus Christ. So back in 2021, I've said it often, I was reading a book. I went on a 40-day fast based on that book, and God was speaking to me heavily during that time. So I was fasting, I was praying, I was worshiping. I was really attuned to the voice of God, and therefore God had a greater ability to speak to me. Was I perfect? No. Was I still fussing, cussing, and listening to the wrong kind of music? Yes. But God was still dealing with me, and because I was open to it, he was able to tell me, or I was able to hear his voice a lot louder than I normally would, because I was trying. I was really trying. Wasn't perfect, but I was trying. So with that being said, one day God told me, he said, Kristi, I need you to go to sleep a little bit earlier because I need to talk to you. And if you know me, I don't really have a bedtime. I go to sleep whenever. So usually I go to sleep in between 12 at night, the earliest, and 4 being the latest if I'm off from work. I know that's not good, but I don't really have a circadian rhythm, as odd as that is. That's a story for another time. So with all that being said, when God told me to go to sleep, I didn't really want to. I wasn't really listening to him because I didn't. It's hard for me to go to sleep that early. I can fall asleep, but I'll be up a lot earlier than I anticipate. Sometimes when I do that, and I like what people call bedtime revenge, where you spend your entire day doing what others want you to do. And so you can spend those hours where everybody else in the world is asleep to do the things that you personally want to do. And so I kind of fought with God on it, but I was trying to be reverent, and he was so insistent on it. Like, he kept saying it multiple days when I kept saying no multiple days. And I finally did it. So the first night, God gave me this really strong prophetic dream about somebody. Like, he showed me into the future of something that was going to happen to somebody in the next few months in a way that I've never really experienced it before, which was really interesting. Then I think it was like that same night or another night, he told me, Kristi, he woke me up in the middle of the night, and he what would not be the middle of the night for me, because normally I wouldn't be asleep, but it was like 10, 12, 1, something like that. He woke me up and he said, I need you to pray for every man in your family. And I was like, God, why? Like, I didn't understand the necessity of it, but I listened loosely, and I tried to pray in my own strength for everybody that I could. And in doing so, I didn't realize that God's foresight was far greater than mine. And in that time, from 2021 August, maybe, to 2024 of this year, of this month, November, there has been attacks here and there on almost every man in my family. I mean, in that time period, it was August. My dad went to the hospital in September. He had like a kind of loose near-death experience. He got out. Next thing you know, my granddad became, no, my uncle, who worked a job for 50 years, about got fired from his job because the company shut down from nowhere. Then, shortly after that, right before Thanksgiving, my nephew got pneumonia. Then he recovered. Then my granddad ended up in a hospital. Medical mishap. He died in December. And then shortly after that, the next year started up. My dad was in the hospital again. Everything my granddaddy had that killed him, my daddy had it. And he lived. This is a lot, y'all. He lived. He got out the hospital. And then next thing you know, somewhere in the middle of that, one of my uncles had was in the hospitalized. Then the same uncle, no, then as my dad is in the hospital right before he's released, my cousin-in-law, who's been in my family all of my life, if you go back to the wedding video where I said I was in my cousin's wedding, that's the cousin that she married. So he's a brother to me. I was the flower girl. He's a cousin to me for sure. He went into the hospital. Then his mom passed. Then after that, I know I'm just going on tragedy to tragedy. A young cousin of mine had a heart attack. From nowhere, 30s, heart attack. He's all right. But then after that, something happened to another cousin. All these are male. It's just male, 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 male. My uncle died. My dad, and this is every side. I'm talking about my mom's side, my dad's side, a cousin that I was trying to get in touch with through Ancestry. He died. Like, it was just crazy. And I say all this to say this was God had foresight, and he knew down to just now. I just found out that one of my other close male family members, young, just had a major surgery, major hospitalization. And it just shows that God's foresight and insight is farther than ours. And at the time, nothing was wrong with any of these men in my family. They were fine. The attack went from my 94-year-old granddad to my 2-year-old at the time nephew. The attacks have been attacking. And I have been able to slightly, and I still haven't been as serious as I needed to be, cover them, but it was based on the information that God had given me because I listened just a little in 2021, and I still didn't pray as hard as I needed to. So this is a cautionary tale, y'all, because all of this is just shocking. It's new. None of these are not people who had a lot of hospitalization. My grandfather, yes, he was 94. Yeah, he had a lot of hospitalizations. But the rest of these people, they have never been in the hospital in my life. And they were hospitalized, sick, all of these things. And a lot of them walked away from it because God's grace concerning them. But I just want you guys to realize that if God tells you to do something, open your ears so that you can hear your God. Because when he's talking to you, this is for somebody, I feel it now. When he's telling you to do something, it's an urgency on it because he knows what you don't know. Even down to one of my male friends was hospitalized. Like, listen to me. If God's telling you to do anything, do it now. If God tells you to do anything, do it now. Because he knows what you don't know. He has foresight and he has insight, and he wants you to cover and protect what is yours. Listen to the voice of God. If he tells you to do it, he knows better than you. He's older than you. He created you. He's your maker. You're not his. Listen to your God because your God knows what to tell you to do, how to instruct you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day or night.